I am extremely happy to see that ISRO is now embarking on one of the most complex missions that is undertaken since its inception, that of launching the Chandrayaan-2, which has got an ambitious mission goal, that of putting a craft around the moon as an orbiter and then take a part of it and land it on the surface of the moon, the lander, and ultimately deploy out of this another craft that would do a little bit of roving around the vicinity of the landing and search for itself certain features of the moon, the geological and other aspects of the lunar surface. But at the immediate concern is to make sure that we have a very successful mission of a launch of the Chandrayaan-2, its operations in the context of leading into a lander on the moon, and ultimately getting some feel of the scientific basis of certain aspects of the lunar evolution and its present status by the instruments that are being flown, both the orbital, lander as well as on the rover. So I wish Dr. Shivan and his team the very best in this mission, and I am sure the country will certainly be proud of what ISRO is doing today in this context. Thank you. This is not only the question of the social issues, yes. It's a national issue which encompasses and touches upon the lives of people, yes, in the immediate future as well as for the coming decades. And you have to address this with respect to the diversity and the complexity that India represents. So to me, it was really one of the most challenging assignments that this government gave us as a team. And we have tried to do our best, that's all we can say. But it was satisfying as a great experience in retrospect if you look at it, because the responses that we have been getting even in the short period when it was put in the public domain, especially from those who have talked to the totality of this particular document, is very encouraging. And we feel that we are on the right track in making those recommendations for the government.
देश के लगभग 1000 से भी अधिक विश्वविद्यालय, 45,000 से भी अधिक डिग्री कॉलेज, 15 लाख से भी अधिक स्कूल, 1 करोड़ 9 लाख से भी अधिक अध्यापक और कुल अमेरिका की जितनी आबादी नहीं है उससे भी अधिक 33 करोड़ से भी अधिक छात्र और छात्राओं को आज के इस ऐतिहासिक दिन पर बधाई देना चाहता हूं, शुभकामना देना चाहता हूं। मुझे भरोसा है कि जो ये हमारी शिक्षा नीति है, ज्ञान, विज्ञान, अनुसंधान, नवाचार, प्रौद्योगिकी से युक्त, संस्कार क्षम मूल्य परक, हर क्षेत्र में हर परिस्थिति का मुकाबला करने वाली, पूरी दुनिया के लिए भारत में ज्ञान की महाशक्ति के रूप में उभर करके आएगी।
आज हम सभी एक ऐसे क्षण का हिस्सा बन रहे हैं जो हमारे देश के भविष्य निर्माण की नींव डाल रहा है। एक ऐसा क्षण है जिसमें नए युग के निर्माण के बीज पड़े हैं। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति 21वीं सदी के भारत को नई दिशा देने वाली है। पिछले 3 दशकों में दुनिया का हर क्षेत्र बदल गया, हर व्यवस्था बदल गई। इन 3 दशकों में हमारे जीवन का शायद ही कोई पक्ष हो जो पहले जैसा ही रहा हो, लेकिन वो मार्ग जिस पर चलते हुए समाज भविष्य की तरफ बढ़ता है, हमारी शिक्षा व्यवस्था वो अब भी पुराने ढर्रे पर ही चल रही थी। पुरानी शिक्षा व्यवस्था को बदलना उतना ही आवश्यक था जितना किसी खराब हुए ब्लैक बोर्ड को बदलना आवश्यक होता है।
Good morning, participants. Due to urgent commitment of our guest, we will start University Distinguished Lecture at 11:30 a.m. Please stay with us. Sorry for the inconvenience.
We are a multidisciplinary university with interdisciplinary approach, both in research as well as teaching. Because of this emphasis on research, our faculty, who are almost 100% PhDs, have published more than 300 publications in very high impact journals.
SRM University, Andhra Pradesh is established as a research intensive university carrying out research in frontline and emerging areas of science, technology, liberal arts and social sciences. I am glad that faculty members and research scholars of this university have published 241 quality publications in the year 2020. Some of them appeared in Nature, Nature Microbiology, Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, PNAS, Applied Catalysis and IEEE journals. Our faculty members and students have filed and published 11 patents in this calendar year. Faculty members have been granted 5 research projects by the industry and also the funding agencies of the Government of India. We have established a Center for Energy Storage Devices jointly with Amar Raja Batteries Limited, a leading battery manufacturer in the country, with objectives such as fast charging of lithium-ion batteries and also developing 3D printed battery electrodes. Our students have done several projects including retrofitting of e-bike and design and development of drones for societal applications such as disinfecting and also spraying of pesticides over farmland.
Hello, I am Dr. Sudarshan Govindarajan, Assistant Professor, at the Department of Biology, SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. I was recently awarded the prestigious DBT Wellcome Trust Early Career Fellowship. In my laboratory, we will be exploring the genetics, life cycle and cell biology of novel class of bacterial viruses called as jumbo bacteriophages. We are hoping to make fundamental discoveries on the evolution of life through our studies on jumbo bacteriophages. Thank you very much.
In this center, we work on various objectives related to energy storage devices, such as industrial scale synthesis of battery cathode materials, fast charging technique for lithium ion batteries, and the low cost alternate cathode materials, then adopting of additive manufacturing, that is 3D printing technology for fabrication of lithium ion battery cathodes, and the thermal and electrical studies of lithium ion batteries to develop efficient battery management system.
I am very happy that my name is listed as a top 2% researcher in the field of biotechnology.
We are a team of 10 members including faculty. We have come up with an idea of converting an old motor bike to electric bike. We have worked for almost 3 months to build this prototype and the tests are ongoing. The preliminary results are it is having a top speed of 60 km per hour and a range of 45 kilometers. Our electric bike has interesting features such as 3 drive modes for controlling the speed, reverse mode, regenerative braking, portable battery mechanism, and many more.
అందులో యాడ్ చేసావా జూమ్ లేదు అందులో డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకున్నా గూగుల్ నుంచి రాదా డైరెక్ట్ రాదు.
So Research Day is a unique initiative. Now we have the Science Day, which celebrates the discovery of Raman effect. We have the Technology Day, which is the first nuclear test which we did in 98. We have Mathematics Day, which is the birthday of Srinivasa Ramanujan. But now Professor Narendra Rao has started the Research Day.
we are missing linkage between industry and academia despite our best efforts. The major underlying changes which have been highlighted post-COVID-19 are that we are highly import dependent both for our industry as well as our R&D. Then we have stringent regulatory mechanisms for introduction of new novel drugs and vaccines.
Scientists of DRDO have responded that totally about 53 to 54 products have come out of DRDO in just about 45 days to 50 days.
In my opinion, industry should be encouraged to innovate and they should have connection with the academia.
Frankly speaking, it is just a realization that only when R&D and innovation system is strong, Indian R&D, Indian industry will be strong.
The future of India depends on the foundation of science and technology. We should do what? What do we do? We have to do three types of research in India. First, the one that is very competitive, working on the very frontiers of science, including virus research, research related to health, research related to materials, and research related to technology of various kinds. Second, we have to do types of research that directly helps industry of India, which are national priorities. The third type of research is one where there are unique possibilities, where India will be the number one in the world in that area. In those areas where India has a unique advantage, we'll have to do much more work.
Come together to combat COVID-19. So it has been a preemptive, proactive and participatory approach.
The university distinguished lectures are being organized in such a way that the faculty members, the research scholars and students of SRM University-AP will get benefited. Also, these lectures are being attended by large gathering of participants from several premier institutions, universities in the country and abroad.
So this first slide actually are the videos from our experiments, which I'll exemplify by 3 stories.
Topic I've chosen today is data to discovery in information security. There are 2 parts to this talk.
Topic that I have been contemplating, as not only as a researcher, but also as a person heading an institute.
The title is basically the 13th to 21st century, the saga of science.
The title of my talk is Philosophy of Ultimate Success in Scientific Life.
The title I was saying is something about the art of science in the time of COVID-19 and beyond, and something like the brave new world, the new millennium.
These days, the buzzword is excellence. Where does it start? What do we mean by excellence? Let me start with those principles.
I'm Estella, Scientist E and Head for Meteorological Center Amaravati, located in SRM University campus, Nirukanda village of Guntur district, Andhra Pradesh. Meteorological Center Amaravati started functioning since December 2018. We have a meteorological observatory which gives temperature, humidity, rainfall, wind direction and speed, and we have forecasting for state-wise, district-wise and city-wise.
In the year 2021, I'm sure our faculty members, research scholars and students will publish more than 400 publications, and especially about 50 publications will come from the undergraduate students, which is a significant feature of this university. We will be filing and publishing more than 10 patents in the year 2021. We are now in the advanced stage of establishing Center for Research in Gold Jewelry in association with and active collaboration of Tanishq Jewelers of Titan. In addition, we are planning to establish a center for additive manufacturing in association with General Electric GE, especially for 3D printing of gold jewelry. Further, we are establishing a center of excellence in artificial intelligence for healthcare and other societal applications. Also, we have a plan to establish a center for 5G technologies covering different aspects of 5G, an emerging technology in the country.
Good morning to Professor Vijayalakshmi Saxena. Madam. Hello. Huh? Madam, good morning.
Madam, please unmute.
Madam, please unmute.
Madam, please unmute.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, madam. Good morning. Ashok, good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Yeah. Professor Ganesh. Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. Professor, sir, our VC, Professor V.S. Rao garu, good morning. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Professor Ganesh. Good morning, Professor Lakshmi.
Professor Ravindra. Yeah. Professor Ravindra Gupta, Vice Chancellor, Telangana University. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah. Professor Sriram Ramakrishna. Sriram, good morning. Nice to meet you here. Nice to meet you here. Yeah, yeah. Dr. Kasturirangan has joined. I don't see him.
Yes, sir, he is here.
Sir Kasturirangan, sir, good morning, sir.
I'm doing. Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. We'll start the program in a few minutes, sir. In a couple of minutes.
Nice to see Professor Rao.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Morning, sir.
All the best. Nice seeing all of you.
Good morning, sir. Professor Narayan Rao, good morning.
Very good morning. Very good morning, sir.
This is Professor Ravindra Gupta, Vice Chancellor, Telangana University.
Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, Professor M.I.S. Prasad. Prasad.
Professor Narayan Rao. Good morning, sir. Dr. Kasturirangan.
Our great mentor is here.
Prasad.
Sir Kasturirangan, sir, we are all delighted to see you in your usual esteem.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dr. Kasturirangan. This is Ganesh from Mysore, Tirupati.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, hello.
Good morning, sir. This is V.S. Rao, sir.
Oh, hi. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Nice to see you here.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Prasad. Good morning.
Good morning, Professor V.S. Rao.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Start చేసేస్తాం అంతే. Yeah. Vinod, you can start at 11:30 sharp.
Yep. Yes.
తర్వాత ఎవరు మాట్లాడుతుంటే వాళ్ళు హైలైట్ అవ్వాలి.
Sir, Honorable Minister.
Vinod.
So very good morning to all and a warm welcome for the University Distinguished Lecture of SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. So now I invite Professor D. Narayan Rao, Pro Vice Chancellor, SRM University, Andhra Pradesh, to give the welcome address.
Chairman of National Education Policy 2020, an international leader in expanding the frontiers of space, former chairman of the prestigious Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, and a great son of India, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. K. Kasturirangan, visionary educationist and Honorable Minister for Education of Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Adimulap Suresh Garu, our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor V.S. Rao Garu, General President of the Indian Science Congress Association, Professor Vijayalakshmi Saxena, the past General President, Professor Ashok Kumar Saxena, Professor K.N. Ganesh, Director, ISR Tirupati, Professor K. Satyanarayana, Director, IIT Tirupati, Professor Prashant Mahapatra, Vice Chancellor Research, University of California, Davis, Professor U.B. Desai, Chancellor, Anurag University, Professor Jamuna, Vice Chancellor of Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalayam Tirupati, Professor Sudarshan Sharma, Vice Chancellor of Sri Venkateswara Vedic University, Tirupati, Professor B.V.R. Chowdhury, Senior Executive Director of Nanyang Technological University, NTU, Singapore, Professor D. Ravinder, Vice Chancellor, Telangana University, Professor P.P. Mathur, Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, our good friend, Professor M.Y.S. Prasad, Vice Chancellor, Vignan University, Professor U. Ramamurthy of NTU, Singapore, Professor Sriram Ramakrishna, Everest Chair, National University of Singapore, Professor Narsimulu, Director of Academic Staff College, University of Hyderabad, Professor T.V. Gopal, members of Academic Council, Board of Management, and the governing body, the Registrar, Dr. Vinayak Kalluri, senior colleagues of SRM University, learned faculty members, and distinguished participants from different universities and institutions from India and abroad, the committed staff of SRM University, members of the organizing committee of the University Distinguished Lecture Series, my dear members of print and electronic media, I extend a warm welcome to all of you to the University Distinguished Lecture, Creating a Vibrant Knowledge Society, an Indian Strategy for 21st Century, being delivered by the most revered person, Dr. Kasturirangan. The lecture is jointly organized by SRM University-AP and the national daily, The Hindu. It was my good fortune that I worked as Director of National Atmospheric Research Laboratory, NARL, of the Department of Space, Government of India, when Dr. Kasturirangan was Chairman of ISRO. On this auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima, I offer my pranams to my Guru and mentor, Dr. Kasturirangan. I am glad to inform the august audience present here that the state of Andhra Pradesh is making significant efforts to implement NEP 2020 in a phased manner. Further, I am glad to mention that the Cabinet of Andhra Pradesh has resolved to set up State Research Foundation in line with National Research Foundation as recommended by NEP 2020. Let's congratulate the Honorable Minister, Dr. Adimulap Suresh Garu, for the commendable efforts in the implementation of NEP 2020 in the state of Andhra Pradesh in a phased manner, and to make the state of Andhra Pradesh as a knowledge hub in the country. Now, I wish to inform the members present here that SRM University, Andhra Pradesh has been established in July 2017 as a multi-stream research-intensive university. Presently, we are offering BTech and MTech programs in different disciplines, and we have more than 4,000 students from different states of the country, and a few students are foreign nationals. About 150 students, including a few net qualified, have enrolled for PhD programs in different disciplines. We have appointed 163 faculty members having PhD degrees from premier institutions such as IITs, IISc, and reputed foreign universities. 4 DST Inspire faculty and 1 DBT Ramanathan Fellow are working at SRM University as faculty members. In the year 2018, we have started School of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences and also School of Entrepreneurship and Management to provide holistic education as envisaged by the National Education Policy 2020. Most of our faculty members are quite active in research and have published more than 500 papers during the last 2 years in highly reputed journals, including Nature, Nature Communications, Nature Microbiology, Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, PNAS, IEEE Transactions, and other reputed journals. Some of our faculty members have published 17 papers in Nature Index journals. There is a small university and a nascent university, and publishing 17 papers in Nature Index journals speaks of the profile and the research aptitude capabilities of the faculty members we have at SRM-AP. Many of the faculty members have received sponsored research projects from the Department of Science and Technology, DST, Government of India, National Supercomputing Mission, NSM, Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, Board of Research in Nuclear Science, BRNS, and UGC-DAE. One faculty member, Dr. Sudarshan Govindarajan, received the prestigious DBT Welcome Trust Award. We have established SRM Amar Raja Center for Energy Storage Devices jointly with Amar Raja Batteries Limited, the leading battery manufacturer in the country. Center for Weather Forecast in association with India Meteorological Department, IMD, the center is providing weather forecast for the entire state of Andhra Pradesh. We have taken up a few special projects, namely development of gold foam for jewelry applications in collaboration with Tanishq Jewelers of Titan Industries. 3D printing of gold jewelry, a pioneering concept, once again in association with Tanishq Jewelers. We have initiated 3D printing of bio implants in association with Concordia University, Canada, and All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, Mangalagiri. Metal additive manufacturing for strategic applications in collaboration with IIT Hyderabad, IIT Jodhpur, and ERCA Hyderabad. At SRM University, we provide the students research-based learning for knowledge creation and innovative ideas. Further, we train the students with a desire to do and with a desire to learn and equip them to take up challenging tasks that they encounter in their careers. The NEP 2020 is a significant milestone in the history of Indian education. I repeat, the NEP 2020 is a significant milestone in the history of Indian education. The NEP is a complete, comprehensive, far-sighted, visionary, and plays a vital role in shaping the future of India. The Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, said, I quote, "The national education policy laid the foundation for a new India of the 21st century," I unquote, during his inaugural address at the conclave on transformational reforms in higher education under the NEP. Undoubtedly, the NEP is poised to yield outstanding results in the fields of higher education, research and innovation, science and technology development in the country. NEP 2020 is a game changer for education in the country. I repeat, NEP 2020 is a game changer for education in the country. The Government of India plans to implement the National Education Policy 2020 in a mission mode. We need to recognize that a student's knowledge base must be sufficiently flexible to cope up with the 21st century job scenario. Research and innovation is central to growing and sustaining a large and vibrant society and economy such as Indian economy. Setting up of National Research Foundation is one of the key recommendations of NEP 2020. In line with the recommendation of NEP, Government of India has already set up the National Research Foundation with a total outlay of 50,000 crore rupees to significantly enhance the research contributions of universities and higher education institutions. India's major public expenditure on education needs to be substantially ramped up, including skill development. It is to be realized that no country has achieved self-reliance without education of high quality. I repeat, no country has achieved self-reliance without education of high quality. Universities are viewed as creators of new knowledge, innovative ideas, providers of skilled manpower, agents for social changes, symbols of international attention and prestige. Thus, the central government and the state governments need to nurture and strengthen the universities in the country. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and Jai Vigyan. Thank you, one and all. Now, I request all of you, wherever you are, to give a standing ovation to Dr. Kasturirangan, Chairman NEP 2020. Let's give the standing ovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So now I invite my colleague, Dr. Mahesh Rava, to introduce the Honorable Minister to the august audience.
Good morning, all. It is my pleasure to introduce Honorable Education Minister, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Adimalapu Suresh. Dr. Suresh did his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from National Institute of Technology, Karnataka in 1984, and then obtained a doctorate in computer science engineering. He is a fellow of Institute of Engineer India and a life member of Indian Society for Technical Education. Government of Andhra Pradesh has observed the need for bringing in radical reforms in the present education system to make the children studying in the government schools compete at national and international examinations. From this academic year onwards, around 45,000 government schools will be having CBSE curriculum in a phased manner. In line with the provision of the National Education Policy 2020, Government of Andhra Pradesh proposes to establish brownfield universities in the state. Also, State Research Foundation is established to significantly enhance the research contributions of universities of Andhra Pradesh. In an attempt to boost the healthcare facilities in the state and also to develop medical education, Andhra Pradesh government is laid foundation for 16 medical colleges in rural areas. We congratulate the Honorable Minister of Education for these outstanding achievements within a period of just 2 years. Thank you, sir. Over to you, Vinod.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Dr. Mahesh. So now I invite the Honorable Minister to deliver the presidential address to the guest audience.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Sir, Dr. Kasturirangan ji, sir, very good morning to you, sir. It's an honor, sir, to just see you all, sir. So see you in virtual itself. I'm raising goose pimples. So at the very outset, on this happy occasion of organizing this university distinguished lecture by SRM University. I express my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the government of Andhra Pradesh for considering an inclusion of some of the suggestions given by the government of Andhra Pradesh in the CAB meeting held at Delhi in 2019 during the final draft of NEP 2020. So with that, I welcome Dr. K. Kasturirangan ji, Chairman, NEP 2020, the man who has given us this draft of national education policy in this century after a gap of nearly 36 years. So the country has got a strategy for equipping the student of this country with the 21st century skills and making the student a global student. So for that, I really thank the chief guest today, who is going to deliver the university distinguished lecture on creating a vibrant knowledge society, an Indian strategy for 21st century. In fact, the man who has given us the strategy himself is going to deliver this lecture itself. It's raising goose pimples to me. So I really congratulate SRM University for organizing this distinguished lectures. I'm glad to know that SRM University organized various university distinguished lectures in the past also by eminent and illustrious scientists and academicians in the country, starting from Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji, Secretary Government of India, Science and Technology, and Professor Ajay Sood, Fellow of the Royal Society, Professor Murthy from the IIT Hyderabad, Dr. Chandrasekhar from CSR, and Professor Ganesh, IISc, IISR, Aishat Tirupati, and many other illustrious academicians and intellectuals. So on this happy occasion, I welcome all the academicians, academic administrators, first of all, the Vice Chancellor, the Pro-Chancellor of SRM University, and the patrons of SRM University, and all the thousands of students who have logged into today's virtual conference on this distinguished lecture. So I welcome all of the distinguished lectures, and thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity of sharing our thoughts of government of Andhra Pradesh. As you all know that, true to the spirit of the NEP 2020, we in Andhra Pradesh, the government of Andhra Pradesh, under the able and dynamic leadership of our Chief Minister, Sri Y.S. Jagannath Reddy garu, has accepted the recommendations of NEP into tow, and the concept which has been envisaged there. The education should have equity, the education should have accessibility, it should have affordability, it should have accountability, and it should have reachability, the basic concept. So it reminds me the famous quotation of Dr. Baba Saheb B.R. Ambedkar, who has said that education is the only penance for removing the ills in the society. So the development of the community is possible only through the education. So we in Andhra Pradesh, our Honorable Chief Minister has taken this up, ideology of equity in education, and poverty should not be a barrier to the education, and in fact to the technical education itself. We have come out with a novel programs in the last 2 years of our governance. And this NEP 2020 also has come in handy to us in taking forward the ideology of our Honorable Chief Minister. As you all know that in the last 2 years in Andhra Pradesh, we have really embarked upon various reforms, institutional and infrastructural. Various best practices have been adopted. Various social welfare schemes have been introduced in the education field with the basic concept that the children, the parents, the teachers, and all the stakeholders in the educational ecosystem should be incentivized. This is one of the prime most factors when we talk about equity in education. The haves and have-nots, the urban and rural, and all the people who have been denied of this access to education institutions from centuries together. Now they are finding a new place in Andhra Pradesh, starting from me, hailing from a Dalit community, from centuries together, who have been denied of this Goddess Saraswati's blessings. Our Honorable Chief Minister has given us this wonderful opportunity of heading the education department itself by putting me in this seat of, the Minister for Education of all the sectors of higher education, school education, technical education. And this is where actually the reforms have started in Andhra Pradesh. We believe that the mother, who is the key pin for the family, will be the main factor helping the family to get educated. And if she is not made part of the whole process, how much ever schemes, how much ever efforts, how much ever activities the government, any government takes up in a mission mode or in a project mode, will be futile. So this concept has been taken to at a higher level, and then the mothers have been incentivized for sending their child to the school. We believe that the mother who is ready to take any hardship for giving wonderful future for their child, who wants to lay the roots for reaching higher echelons for his child, but because of poverty, because of her economic status, unable to do it, and especially gender parity, as a result of which actually most of the girl child has been denied of this opportunity of going to the schools or taking up this education. This problem we have taken up, and then we have come up with a program called Amma Odi, Jagananna's Amma Odi, which means the mother's lap, which is the safest place for any child. So under this scheme, we wanted the mothers to get incentivized, and we started off giving an incentive of 15,000 rupees for every mother who sent their child to the school, so that the economic activities can be taken care, and the home front will be taken care of this money. So this is one of the beautiful schemes we started off, and in a mammoth scale of nearly 43 lakh mothers have been incentivized at a cost of 6,300 crores, and then consecutively for 2 years we are giving this scheme. So this is where actually the equity in education has been tackled by incentivizing the mothers. We have extended further with many other schemes wherein the government has come out with fee reimbursement, full fee reimbursement for the students, especially below poverty line, if they want to take up their studies at school level, at higher education level, at research level, wherein the entire fees will be refunded by the government of Andhra Pradesh. In addition to that, we have also developed a scheme wherein their yearly expenditure, their boarding expenditure also will be taken care, wherein again rupees 20,000 rupees for every student also would be refunded when he is pursuing his studies. So which is called Jaganana Vasati Divana, and then reimbursement is called Jaganana Vidya Divana. So these are the schemes which we want to ensure that no child is denied access to education. And as per the NEP also, which very categorically says that nearly 20% of the budget has to be allocated for education field. Sir, I humbly submit that we are making rapid strides in this direction. And as of now, we have reached to a stage where we are spending 17% of our total budget, which is amounting to 30,000 crores for education alone. And this is the third consecutive year we are giving this budget allocation, which amounts to almost 2 to 3% of our GSDP. Sir, as you rightly mentioned in NEP, nearly 5% of the GSDP has to be allocated to education field, and we are very close to that milestone. So we just wanted to ensure that the student in the changing scenario with the advent of technology, with the choice available for him to pursue whichever course he wants as per the needs of the industry, as per the demand of the society. There should be an empowerment of the student. Student should be given full freedom and full choice to pursue studies based upon his talent. So this is a wonderful idea which in Andhra Pradesh we are enforcing in the form of introducing academic bank of credits ABC, choice-based credit system, where whichever field he wants, no matter if he's pursuing the engineering of one field, he can take up some subjects as rightly mentioned in the NEP. True to the spirit, we are giving that flexibility of choice in the subjects, and choice-based credit system also we have already introduced, and the common curriculum also has been developed. Sir, actually, I also humbly tell you and to all the audience here that school education is also an area which need to be redressed with a lot of reforms, because ever since the primary education concept has evolved, the student has been given access only from the age of 6. Whereas the new education policy, which very clearly says that the child's mind will be developed to nearly 85% before he attains the age of 6 years. This is what actually the early childhood care and education, foundation literacy and numeracy. This is where actually our Honorable Chief Minister has taken a drastic step, a revolutionary step in reconstituting the entire institutional framework of the primary education. For the first time in the government schools, the pre-primary education has been introduced in Andhra Pradesh by introducing the kindergarten sections of LKG and UKG and first class and second class, calling them as the foundation schools. I'm very happy to announce that yesterday during the review meeting of Honorable CM has awarded 6 basic types of schoolings that are going to be introduced in the state of Andhra Pradesh, starting from satellite foundation schools, foundation plus schools, pre-high schools, total integration and amalgamation of education right from LKG to 12th standard. The specialist teachers should be available for the students starting as early as 3rd class onwards, where in 18 to 20 subjects are there. Earlier, which were being taught by a second grade teacher who just holds a diploma degree after +2, which is not sufficient. There is poverty in learning, which has to be addressed, and in fact, it has to be addressed very strongly. So this is where in Andhra Pradesh we have taken up this revamping and institutional changes in the education system by introducing various types of schools based upon the demand and ensuring that no student will be denied access to the schools, and there should be more enrollment ratio. As NEP put a target of 70%, and then we want to make it 100% with a perspective plan. And then, though mother tongue has been given more importance, and education in the basic language is state language, Telugu, also should be given opportunity. At this time, the importance of English also is not undermined. We want to ensure that English should be given more importance. As you all know that the children from the rural section, though they are very good at quantitative and qualitative IQs, but their community skills and especially the soft skills which are required for getting an employment in the market, open market, and to compete globally. As the world has become a small global village, English, the importance of English cannot be undermined. So in this direction also, we in Andhra Pradesh wanted to improve the standards of the students, and then we have taken up the process of affiliating the entire schools to CBSE. I think for the first time in the country, NEP has been implemented in toto by our Honorable CM, and then all the schools also are being affiliated to CBSE on such a massive scale. This is what the concept of the education for all is, what actually we are going to implement in years to come. The changes in the society can be achieved. The inequalities, the ill health in the society can be removed only when the society is educated. And this is what the strategy, the Indian strategy, what has been envisaged by our chairman, NEP 2020, in his document of national education policy, has very clearly and categorically mentioned. And I'm very happy, sir, that we are in support of the total policy, and we are implementing it in state by state. And I think, in fact, we can proudly say that in Andhra Pradesh, we are the first state to take up all the suggestions envisaged in the NEP 2020 in the school education, in the higher education and technical education, with the underlying principles of equity, affordability and accessibility. And in this direction, we welcome all the stakeholders of the education ecosystem, both public, private and NGOs, who come forward in enlightening this light of knowledge in the society. I'm very glad that SRM University is really moving in this direction. I have seen and I have visited SRM University, and I have seen the faculty who have really excelled themselves in research and then getting projects on their own. And I'm really happy to know that when students are getting taught and then when they're being trained by faculty of that kind, I think I'm sure the future of such students is in safe hands, and then the country is also moving in a proper direction. And I urge upon all the private universities also to emulate them and then to follow this type of responsible role which they have in the society, and then they should be more accountable to the society as a whole when they are taking up this noble cause of imparting education. Education alone is the only penance for all the ills in the society, and this is the only strategy we believe in Andhra Pradesh, and then we are going in this direction. So once again, I thank all the committee members of this University Distinguished Lecture Program, which is being organized by SRM University and the Hindu together, and all the sponsors. And thank you, sir, for giving this wonderful opportunity for sharing our experiences in Andhra Pradesh. And I assure you that in Andhra Pradesh, we extend all support to people who actually gel very well with our ideology and with ideas and with the concept of the state government in bringing a vibrant knowledge society, and then moving towards 21st century and equipping the student in all the skills of 21st century. Thank you, one and all, and thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So now I invite Professor D. Narayan Rao, Pro Vice Chancellor, to present a book, Space and Beyond, Professional Voyage of K. Kasturirangan, to the Honorable Minister.
How do we do? మీరు మినిస్టర్ని హైలైట్ చేయండి. How do we do that? Yeah. The Honorable Minister, sir, I have a great pleasure in presenting the book Space and Beyond, Professional Voyage of K. Kasturirangan, in the august presence of Dr. Kasturirangan to the Honorable Minister. As you know, Kasturirangan's professional voyage has been as a director of U.R. Rao Satellite Center, and he was the project director for Aryabhatta and several remote sensing and communication satellites. Then he became the chairman of ISRO, the prestigious world-class spacefaring agency, and then he became member of Rajya Sabha, member of Planning Commission, and he was endowed with the responsibility of bringing out the National Education Policy 2020, which the entire world acclaims and appreciates. And just now the Honorable Minister has kindly mentioned that Andhra Pradesh is implementing NEP 2020 in toto in a phased manner. So on this happy occasion of Guru Purnima, I wish to present this book to the Honorable Minister virtually, and later will present the book in physical mode to the Honorable Minister. I request the Honorable Minister to kindly accept the book.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I am humbled and I am honored. Thank you so much, Professor Narayan Rao Garu, Pro Vice Chancellor.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So now I invite Dr. Vijayalakshmi Saxena, General President, Indian Science Congress Association, to deliver the special address.
Very good morning to you all. Dr. Adimulapu Suresh Garu, Honorable Minister for Education, Andhra Pradesh, President of the session, Dr. K. Kasturirangan Garu, Chancellor of Central University of Rajasthan, Chairperson NIT University, Chancellor of JNU, Chairman of Karnataka Knowledge Commission, governing body, oh my God, so many accolades, no? Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, and Chairman, National Education Policy 2020, Dr. Ashok Saxena, former General President, Indian Science Congress Association, Kolkata, Dr. V.S. Rao Garu, Vice Chancellor, SRM University, Andhra Pradesh, Dr. D.N. Rao, former General President and Pro Vice Chancellor, SRM University, Andhra Pradesh, esteemed guests, faculty members of different universities, colleges of the country, my dear students, media personnel, ladies and gentlemen. My sincere thanks to the organizer SRM University in association with the Hindu, India's national newspaper, for giving me this unique opportunity of speaking at this distinguished lecture. At the outset, let me thank Professor D.N. Rao, Pro Vice Chancellor, Amravati University, for this honor done to me in inviting to share my views. In this regard, let me take the opportunity to congratulate Professor D.N. Rao and the entire team of the university in this respect. Let me also wish all the participants who have joined in the lecture for making this event a memorable one. I am delighted to note that Dr. Adimula Suresh Garu, Honorable Minister for Education, Andhra Pradesh, who just now shared his valuable thoughts about the higher education within the framework of the new Education Policy 2020. He deserves a lot of credit for which the entire process of NEP 2020 was carried out. I feel privileged and honored to be here today with an extraordinary individual connected with National Education Policy 2020, the Chairman NEP 2020, recipient of the Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, Chairman ISRO, Director, Indian Institute, former General President of Indian Science Congress Association, recipient of Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award, besides bestowed with several national and international awards. Dr. Kasturirangan is a unique individual. If you subtract from him his efforts, his scholarship, his achievements in national building, in my opinion, he remains a great individual. He is a role model for me and for many others for his outstanding scientific achievements and distinguished services to the nation, and for positivity, patriotism, and professionalism. He makes everybody in his company an installer and a smile happier. He is not only a visionary but also harbors a strong belief in successfully venturing the road to scientific progress. He is cherished by the entire science fraternity as being one of the most important towards fostering the cause of science and technology, where COVID-19 pandemic is the current issue in the present global scenario. I suppose I feel short of words in glorifying such a person of eminence. Sir, your presence as a visionary scientist and as an educationist would surely enlighten the minds of the upcoming and aspiring youth of today's global world. On behalf of Indian Science Congress Association and my own, it is my proud privilege to express my thanks to your good self for sharing precious moments for us and bless the science community by your informative as well as interactive talk. Now coming to today's lecture by him on the theme, creating a vibrant knowledge society and Indian strategy for 21st century. I am participating in this distinguished lecture with great enthusiasm because the topic of lecture of discussion today is on an important area which requires urgent attention in the country. We all know that the traditional system of education in India is very strong and the students are getting exposed to various subjects in science and humanities. Unfortunately, the curriculum is not strong to bringing in application of education in giving employment and making use of youth. This is one of the failures of our education system. As teachers, we have the moral responsibility of addressing this issue to give educative emphasis in equipping our vibrant youngsters to come forward and take up new challenges. Now the atmosphere in India is so conducive for taking up such challenges. In this regard, we are so glad that Professor D.N. Rao has come forward to organize such a distinguished lecture series for the benefit of youngsters and teachers in the country. The vision of India's new education system has been crafted to ensure that it touches the life of each and every citizen consistent with their needs and necessities, besides creating a just and equitable society. Yes, it's true. NEP 2020 is a game changer in the country, as just now said by the Professor Narayan Rao. We are delighted to know that Andhra Pradesh is on the top ranking in implementing new education policy as spoken by the minister. I will not go in detail as we are having great intellectual man amongst us, Chairman NEP 2020, who is going to deliver his talk in a short while. We as a citizen of the nation and who hold equal responsibility for the growth should equip our youth with all possible facilities for the research thirst and support and motivate them, as the future of a nation is in their hands and they could get a nation to more advanced levels than what it is today. I feel privileged in introducing a quote from our most revered Prime Minister he delivered in connection with NIP 2020. I quote, "National education policy will set the foundation for the 21st century India." I unquote. India was a knowledge force in the ancient days. The base was set up with seats like Taxila and Nalanda as excellence of learning centers. The rest of the world came to a proud nation and learned not only the advancement made by us for the bright future, but also the values and traditions taught by our potentially capable universities. This need to be grasped and carried on by our present dynamic generation. Let us again restore this status and draw inspiration from the past, from our great intellectual men and the wise leadership of the present, and make our India the golden bird. I will not take much time as all are waiting to hear Dr. Kasturirangan Garu. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Vigyan. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. So now I request my colleague, Dr. Pankaj Pathak, to introduce our distinguished speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Indeed, it is a great honor and privilege for me to introduce a multifaceted personality who is a space scientist, former chairman ISRO, chairman NAP 2020, the Padma Vibhushan, Dr. K. Kasturirangan sir, on the University Distinguished Lecture Series today. For over 5 decades, he has been significantly contributing to the upliftment of scientific and social values in the national interest. Dr. Rangan has started his research journey in experimental high-energy astronomy in 1971, working with Dr. Vikram Sarabhai at Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad. He has published more than 200 papers, both in international and national journals, in the areas of astronomy, space science, space applications, and also edited several books. Dr. Rangan is an international leader who has headed the Indian space program gloriously for over 9 years as the chairman ISRO. Under his leadership, the space program has witnessed several major milestones, including the successful launching and operationalization of the India's prestigious launch vehicle and the workhouse, like PSLV, and the first successful flight of the GSLV. Further, he has overseen the design, development, and launching of the world's best remote sensing satellites, IRS-1C and 1D. He has also led the initiative for India to enter the planetary exploration era by an extensive studies leading to the definition of Chandrayaan-1. These efforts have put India as a preeminent spacefaring nation among the 6 countries that have a major space program. Presently, Dr. Rangan is the Chancellor of Central University of Rajasthan and NIIT University. He is the former Chancellor of Jawaharlal Nehru University and the Chairman of Karnataka Knowledge Commission. He is a former member of Rajya Sabha, and he was also the Director of the National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bangalore, and later a member of Erstwhile Planning Commission. He is one of the virtual individuals who is recipient of 3 major civilian awards of India: Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, and Padma Vibhushan. Besides, he has also received several other prestigious awards, including Santi Swarup Bhatnagar Award in Engineering, Sri Hari Om Ashram Dr. Vikram Sarabhai Credit Award in Aerospace, MP Birla Memorial Award in Astronomy, Sri M.M. Chugani Memorial Award in Applied Science, and many more. Dr. Rangan is also a fellow of several important scientific academies, both in India and abroad, which are the Indian Academy of Science, Indian National Science Academy, Indian National Academy of Engineering, Astronautical Society of India, the Indian Meteorological Society, and the World Academy of Sciences. He is a distinguished fellow of the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineer and honorary fellow of the Aeronautical Society of India, and Kerala Academy of Sciences. Dr. Rangan is also a member of International Astronomical Union and International Academy of Astronautics and is a member of its board of trustees. Recently, he has headed a committee as a chairman that created a national education policy for India and formulated a game-changing policy to the nation, NAP 2020. It is tasked to revise the education structure and created a new system that is aligned with the ambitious goal of 21st century education. He believes that India has a legitimate right to lead with their unique intellectuals, and therefore his role in sharing his thought with the young generation is highly enlightening. Over the last few decades, he is also motivating the young generation by delivering several convocation addresses across the length and breadth of India. Sir, the list of applaud is very long and highly motivating. And perhaps this entire session is insufficient for sharing your brief introduction while summarizing the recognition and exceptional milestone. Therefore, now I will stop here and would like to thank you for gracing us on today's occasion. Over to you, Dr. Vinod.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. So now I profusely request our distinguished speaker to deliver the lecture.
Dr. Adimolapu Suresh Garu and others. First of all, I would like to express my grateful thanks to the management of SRM University, Andhra Pradesh, for this honor done to me by inviting me to deliver the university distinguished lecture. I'd like to particularly record my appreciation to the Vice Chancellor, Professor V.S. Rao, and Professor Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. D. Narayan Rao, and other members of the faculty. Professor D. Narayan Rao, I would like to emphasize, is a colleague of mine since the days of ISRO. Has been a person with wide-ranging interest on matters related to science, technology, and management. He has thus handled it admirably. He had been not only a scientist in atmospheric sciences, he also headed the mesospheric tropospheric radar, which was the first of its kind in the country, one of the first in the world, in this part of the world. And he produced several path-breaking results out of that, a variety of responsibilities over the years, and brought to bear these traits in overseeing his important role as the Pro-Chancellor of the SRM Andhra Pradesh. Professor Narayan Rao has displayed, as expected, his deep commitment and dynamism by paying careful attention to all the details in organizing this event in collaboration with the Hindu. This is typical of him. He brings to the perfection. He has a level of excellence in anything he undertakes as a job. I should also say, in teaming with Hindu, I am elated because soon after the policy was out, it was one of the papers that came out with quite a bit of details about the various aspects of the policy, National NEP 2020, subjected to national debate at various quarters, and came out with tremendous amount of support for this activity, even though it has been candid in specific details. But I should say Hindu has been authentic as well as clear-cut with respect to the kind of opinion that we received from a newspaper. So I'm happy that Hindu today is playing a major part in this particular event. On the other side, the Vice Chancellor P.S. Rao and myself were associated along with when he was the Vice Chancellor of the NIMRANA, the National Institute of Technology at NIMRANA, and I was serving at the time the chairman of the Board of Management. A very extraordinary intellectual, excellent organizer. He is also a very fine human being. I'm happy to see that he is today the Vice Chancellor of this university. The progress and achievements of this young university coming out of the vision of the government of Andhra Pradesh and the promoters of SRM University has strongly influenced its laudable growth in the recent times as a center of scholarship and erudition. This is very well symbolized by the presence of the Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Adimalpu Suresh Garu. I just heard his vision about the education in Andhra Pradesh. He is extraordinary in terms of articulating the various steps that the government of Andhra Pradesh is taking with respect to transforming the educational landscape of this state, both at the school level and at the higher education level. I know that he is a leader whose academic credentials include a doctorate in computer science engineering. And with such a person, with such a knowledge of education and such a knowledge and with such a stature of erudition, this university will continue to receive due attention in terms of support and mentoring on the highest levels of the state government, including, as the Honorable Minister rightly said, the Chief Minister in some taking personal interest in this. And of course, the Honorable Minister explained in detail about the kind of steps that they want to take for the state of Andhra Pradesh in implementing the recommendations of the National Education Policy 2020. Certainly, it's quite a challenging because there are many new ideas, new systems have to be created, new institutional mechanisms have to be put in place. So obviously, state like Andhra Pradesh taking initiative right in the beginning, I think is going to make a difference in providing a pioneering role in translating the educational landscape of the state of this country. And I'm sure Andhra Pradesh will rank as one of the first states to translate these ideas and move itself in the context of transforming itself into a vibrant knowledge society. I'm also happy to see the presence of Professor Vijayalakshmi Saxena, whom I know now currently she carries a very challenging responsibility of organizing the Indian Science Congress Association meeting as the General President. And she is among the enlightened gathering here. I'm also very happy to see my very long association and a very valuable colleague, Professor M.I.S. Prasad, one of the very versatile communication engineer who headed the ISRO's major establishments over the years and give excellent leadership. I see Professor Ganesh, a pioneer in ISER development, and today if ISER has become one of the namesake for higher education and quality education, I think I will be unhesitatingly provide quite a lot of credit to a person of the stature of Professor Ganesh. I'm also extremely happy that many vice chancellors are today present in this. In this connection, I just want to recall a phone call just I received before I came for this meeting from Professor Manjul Bhargav from United States. As you know, Professor Manjul Bhargav was one of the key members of the National Education Committee for this educational policy. And he told me it's a Guru Purnima, what a great day the SRM has chosen for this particular meeting and discussing the national education policy. And he wanted his personal greetings to all of you on this particular occasion because it is full of people with educational background, scholarship, erudition, and so on. So what could be a could not be a better gathering than this in terms of paying tributes to the teachers of this nation. So thank you very much. And I would like to again say the vision of both the Vice Chancellor and the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Narayan Rao, for this very thoughtful action. I just want to get into a little bit of a broader issues of the national education policy at this stage. And before that, I would like to again, before I conclude my thing, I would like to send some honorable minister is there. I would like to wish him, the Chief Minister and the government of Andhra Pradesh, and through them, the people of Andhra Pradesh, the very best in the coming years. I am sure there is going to be a transformational change that's going to happen in the field of knowledge in Andhra Pradesh. It's already well known for this. They take quite a lot of initiative. They are willing to take risk. They are willing to put resources. They are willing to provide the leadership and mentorship. And that is the character of Andhra Pradesh. And this particular policy, they have taken it up and they have already started getting into the implementation with the same spirit. So I use this day of Guru Purnima to pray Almighty to provide a great success, Honorable Minister, that you are here, Dr. Suresh Garu, for this particular initiative, which you are pushing with great enthusiasm and energy. I wish you the very best. Over the next decade, India will have the highest population of young people in the world, more than 50% below the age of 35 years, aspiring for high quality education. This demographic dividend must be taken advantage of. Globalization and the demands of a knowledge economy and a knowledge society call for emphasis on the need for acquisition of new skills by learners on a regular basis, for them to learn how to learn and to become lifelong learners. A critical consideration that needs to be addressed appropriately. Further, the education of the future needs to be reconfigured to meet the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals set for 2030. Specifically, Goal 4 relating to quality education seeks for higher ensure inclusion and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And Goal 8 relating to decent work and economic growth seeks to promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. With its last education policy formulated nearly 30 years back, India now leads an educational system aligned with the aspirational goals of the 21st century education, while remaining rooted for India's value systems and ethos. The vision of India's new educational system, as laid out in the NEP, has been crafted to ensure that it touches the life of each and every citizen consistent with their needs and necessities, besides creating a just and equitable society. The policy, therefore, provides an integrated yet flexible approach to education and also keeps the interconnectedness of the various phases of education in mind as it lays down an end-to-end educational roadmap for the country. A broad view of education encompassing the holistic development of youth with special emphasis on kindling the creative potential of each of the individual in all its diversity has grown increasingly popular in recent years. The policy thus aims to develop the 21st century skills in students while also giving them enough flexibility in making choices. Even though the focus of today's gathering is higher education, it will not be out of place for me to begin with a few words on the school education. In fact, the Honorable Minister did touch upon this aspect of it, not only because of its intrinsic importance, but also because the way in which a student experiences the schooling phase of education could have a significant influence on those who subsequently pursue higher education. Besides, of course, helping to lay the foundation of a lifelong learning. The policy, informed by the advances in developmental, cognitive, and educational psychology, which indicate that the expanded 5+3+3+4 design is better suited to the child's learning trajectory, from perceptual learning to conceptual learning, and then on to prescriptive learning and abstraction. A schooling system that respects these natural development phases is essential to prepare students for higher education. Before getting into the policy elements in higher education, it is most appropriate for me to use this occasion to briefly highlight the importance and the key role that universities play in the progress of any nation. Ultimately, the higher education in this policy substantially is about universities. Universities are the foundations on which nation builders. They symbolize academic freedom and the fountainhead of inspiration, acting as perennial sources to generate and disseminate new ideas and knowledge. Among the several models of institution providing opportunities for higher education in the contemporary world, universities still occupy a central place with time-tested methodologies and value systems. They provide an effective ecosystem for interaction among diverse disciplines, a crucial element for development of integrated view of this modern and complex world. In this process, they set an example and standards for enlightened citizenship. The perpetual search for knowledge and ideas had been the hallmark of our intellectual heritage. The following quotation from Rig Veda very effectively underscores the same. Mano Badraha Kradamo Yandu Vishwata. Let noble thoughts come from everywhere, unhindered and overflowing. Coming now to the higher education, the two important policy shifts envisaged at the undergraduate level are the emphasis on multidisciplinarity and a holistic approach to education and introduction of a 4-year degree program. The major emphasis is given in this policy to the aspect of holistic, multidisciplinary education as a foundational component at all levels of education, but particularly undergraduate education. Liberal education, as it is referred to in the contemporary discussions of undergraduate education, has its origin in India's age-old idea of liberal arts dating back to almost 1400 years ago. In the modern day social and economic landscape, this age-old Indian concept is now finding recognition in a new form. As per our policy, and I quote, liberal education explores the remarkable relationships that exist among the sciences and the humanities, mathematics and arts, medicine and physics, etc., and more generally, the surprising unity of all fields of human endeavor. And I quote, in fact, I may mention that when Einstein was asked about what is a knowledge, he said, the knowledge is a holistic concept. If they belong to the same tree, it will be the different branches that form the different segments of the knowledge. But without one branch, the other branch is incomplete to understand. So that is how we explain the holisticity of the knowledge in the context of providing a totality of knowledge as a part of the education. A comprehensive liberal education thus develops all capacities of human beings, intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral in an integrated manner. The present silo-based approach to undergraduate education must therefore transform into an integrated, multidisciplinary, holistic approach to liberal education, a total battery in contrast to the branches of knowledge, as mentioned by Einstein. A 4-year multidisciplinary graduate degree program provides opportunities to students to experience the full range of holistic and multidisciplinary education with focus chosen on major and minor as per the choice of the student. There is evidence that certain kinds of outcomes associated with integrative approaches in higher education, including written and oral communication skills, ethical decision-making, critical thinking, and the ability to apply knowledge in a real-world settings are the type of educational outcomes that many jobs demand today. Job seekers have been often faced with demands that go beyond deep technical expertise or familiarity with any particular technology. There is a search for well-rounded individuals with holistic education who can take on complex problems and understand the needs, desires, and motivations of others through integration of learning across disciplines. Thus, the notion of a knowledge of many arts or just the liberal arts is being brought back to Indian education because it is exactly the kind of education that is required in the 21st century. Even though there is a preponderance of graduate programs that focus on single or sub-discipline, there is an emergence of interdisciplinary graduate programs that many institutions working to promote greater interdisciplinarity in graduate learning and scholarship access. It's also interesting to note that established integrative fields, there are many of them are currently science, technology, and society. Sustainability is another area, women's studies, human-computer interaction, bioethics, and many others offer models of successive integrative graduate programs. Already exists, is going on with many institutions. I am delighted to see the School of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, SLA-SSS, at SRM Amravati attempt to embody some of these characteristics. I'm sure that the vision of this university will expand further in the coming years to derive the best of the liberal education program, including undergraduate research. Now, to enable these sweeping changes in the higher education, the policy has made some novel provisions for the governance of universities and autonomous institutions. The onus will be on the leadership of these institutions to create institutional development plans, which will be public documents that incorporate these goals in line with their own vision and mission. Every HEI here is higher educational institution, is expected to have a board of governors, BOG, and the board made responsible for the educational outcome of the higher educational institution. The BOGs will help prepare short, medium, and long-term IDPs that enumerate the vision of the institution for itself, including choosing the kind of institution it wants to be, the action plan for reaching there, and the continuous growth thereafter. The progress of the institution would then be evaluated against these institutional development plans, and the outcomes of periodic reviews conducted by the board also expected to be publicly available. Of course, the process of accreditation will also provide an independent assessment of the HEIs at the appropriate levels. One of the main thrusts of this policy is the restructuring of the higher education to end the extreme fragmentation by transforming higher educational institutions into large multidisciplinary universities, colleges, and HEI clusters or knowledge hubs, each with at least 3,000 or more students. In fact, Dr. Narayan Rao did mention about the aspirations of the SRM University at Andhra Pradesh to become ultimately a research university, a truly visionary idea, which I am sure with the type of management and leaders that you have, you will succeed. This would help to build vibrant communities. What I mean is the kind of large students and a number of subjects, and the community of scholars and peers they will break down the harmful silos, enable students to become well-rounded across disciplines, including artistic, creative, analytic subjects, as well as sports, develop active research communities across disciplines, including cross-disciplinary research, and increase resource efficiency, both material and human, across higher education. So you see the multiple dimensions of integration of various institutions with various dimensions of educational activity coming together, and the tremendous advantage they have in providing a holistic integrative education. A university will mean thus a multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that offers undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community engagement. The definition of a university will thus allow a spectrum of institutions that range from those that place equal emphasis on teaching and research, that is research-intensive universities, to those that place greater emphasis on teaching but still conduct significant research, that is teaching-intensive universities, and autonomous degree granting colleges that are primarily focused on undergraduate teaching, though not limited to just that. The characterization of HEIs based on these distinctions are not hard boundaries, and HEIs will have the opportunity to move up to higher levels based on their performance. Another important anomaly that is NEP corrects is the separation between the undergraduate and postgraduate education that is set in through the affiliation system and has prevented the development of a culture of undergraduate research. The NEP encourages all universities to start undergraduate education on their campuses and all higher educational institutions to take up both teaching and research. Autonomy to good quality higher education and their faculty is a core non-negotiable requirement for the success of the policy. Given the emphasis of the policy on achieving quality education through providing autonomy to academia and the academics to innovate, the process of accreditation acquires new meaning, particularly since it is being made mandatory. The regulatory framework of the higher education will also be overhauled with all the key functions such as regulation, accreditation, funding, and academic standard setting being conducted by independent bodies under the umbrella of a new Higher Education Commission of India, HECI. The introduction of the HECI bill is in the monsoon session of this parliament is being eagerly awaited. Regulation, which will be the charge of the new National Education Regulatory Council, will be light but tight. A new National Accreditation Council will set up a network of accrediting institutions to cope with the workload of accrediting every institution at least once in every 5 years. The new General Education Council will collaborate with all the professional councils to set academic standards that HEIs can aspire towards. In fact, work on the new National Education Qualification Framework is already underway. Teachers are the central pillars on which these ambitions plans rest. NEP 2020 has given considerable attention to teachers, to their initial preparation, conditions of work, and their continuous professional development, while charging them with the critical responsibility of translating the vision of NEP 2020 into desirable outcomes for students, for society, and for the country. The initial preparation of school teachers will move into the Department of Education within universities. And I would like to urge SRM University to consider setting up a Center of Excellence in Education to offer BEd and MEd courses to prepare teachers. See, I would like to say this as an important recommendation that we have made, that teachers, even for schools, have to be prepared in a university environment, an environment where there is a higher education capability. They have a wide-ranging professors who can provide in a variety of areas. You provide a holistic knowledge, and this is the one they prepare them as a better teachers, even in the school areas, because the needs of the school education also has undergone changes, and therefore, and their stature of the school are no less than the teachers that you need for higher educational institution. One can see that this could be very well facilitated to the large number of qualified faculty in different disciplines that you already have at the university, like in URN SRM. Similarly, PhD programs must be strengthened with adequate training to students for teaching careers. Also, introduction of faculty development program that include provisions for college and university teachers around the country to benefit from them is something that the university can think about. In discharging the considerable responsibility that is being placed on their shoulders, teachers require not just performance-based incentive, encouragement, and inspiration, but also additional professional support from their peers, professional learning communities of teachers in different disciplines for different levels of teaching. They are the need of the hour. And I would like to urge all state universities to innovate in this regard and consider the possibility of launching professional learning communities in different subjects. At the postgraduate level, one of the key recommendations relates to the strengthening of the research in the university system. The policy recommends the creation of a national research foundation for this purpose. The policy also highlights the critical need to better manage research at all levels: pure research, applied research, translational research, and research to address specific needs of industry, of social objectives, and other purposes. The primary role of the National Research Foundation will be to nurture a vibrant research ecosystem through adequate funding, mentoring, and support of multidisciplinary research in arts and humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, mathematics, engineering, and technology, including educational technology. The National Research Foundation was born out of the felt need to increase the quantum and scope of quality research across all disciplines and to create a much larger workforce of trained researchers within the country, particularly within the university system. This will enable India to become more competitive knowledge economy and help fulfill the goals set by the Honorable Prime Minister for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. India's present strength of 250 researchers per million population and R&D investment of just 0.65% of GDP as per the economic survey of 20 and 21 compares very unfavorably with the other top 10 economies in the world. It is therefore imperative to grow research as well as the number of trained researchers by increasing research spending at the earliest. I am extremely happy that the recent budget of the Honorable Finance Minister reflects this resolve of the government in the most unambiguous manner. The conditions for research within the university system is very unsatisfactory at present, barring a few exceptions. Since quality education and research have a deeply symbiotic relationship, the national education policy has focused on growing research within universities and colleges. The aim is to reverse the adverse effects of the historical separation between education and research that is adopted after Indian independence and left unchanged since then, which has resulted in most universities receiving very little research funding and producing highly suboptimal research outcomes. NRF will ensure that research proposals are selected purely based on the merit of following a rigorous peer review process. The benefit of research funding will be available to both private and public funded institutions. Having read about some of your initiatives, I know SRM University will be able to optimally leverage the funds that will become available to the National Research Foundation. The NRF will build research capacity across all institutions and all levels, from undergraduate to PhD, and even entertain requests for research funding from schools. Many PhD and postdoctoral fellowships will be made available through the NRF so that the low levels of PhD enrollment, which is currently just 0.5% as of 2020, is improved upon. As mentioned earlier, it's very important that faculty members have a strong research background. Masters and PhD programs must seek to provide teaching experience alongside exposure to research and cultivate communication skills, especially the ability to write well. If these steps are properly implemented, they would qualitatively improve not only teaching and research, but also be an instrument for providing wide-ranging inputs for innovations and the ability to solve problems in multidisciplinary domains of value to society, whether it is clean air or water, healthcare system, climate change, and so on. Challenges that demand the highest level of intellectual engagement. The role of existing trained researchers in the country, active as well as retired, is crucial. The policy identifies all of them as capacity builders, invites them to help in achieving the goals of the NRF in systemic ways, serving as NRF professionals who can be retired professors settled in different geographies, interested in mentoring faculty and students at a nearby university or college by applying jointly with them for funding from NRF. And second, as program officers will oversee the progress of funded projects and enable them to achieve the targeted outcomes. Every university and autonomous college will be encouraged to build research strength in at least a few disciplines. A culture of research must permeate through all our universities and colleges. In this context, it is not out of place to note that in the recent cabinet reshuffle, the Prime Minister had taken charge of the science and technology related endeavors directly under him by assigning this responsibility to his MOS in the PMO, Dr. Jitendra Singh. This clearly brings out the fact that he attaches the highest level of significance to promoting research and create an ecosystem which is all pervading. NEP also heralds the potential explosive growth of vocational education and skill development in the country, since it requires all educational institutions to integrate vocational education into their offerings. There are over 40,000 colleges and 1,000 universities. You are very much aware of this, that have the potential to become providers of vocational education. If they can do so using innovative models that involve providing more hands-on experience to students, then India can strive to become the skilled capital of the world, at least in some cases. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, in a recent report called a USD 1 trillion digital opportunity for India, that led to it to collaborate with NASSCOM for launching the Future Skills Prime initiative for offering low-cost courses to youth in the IT and IT-enabled sector. Just to give you one example, the policy takes the firm view that vocational education must be integrated within the undergraduate education. Not only is this consistent with the principles of holistic development, but it gives students an avenue into the world of work that will be increasingly important in the 21st century. This will contribute towards the attainment of the goal 8 of the Sustainable Development Goal that promotes full and productive employment and decent work for all. I want to clearly emphasize this point because we tend to have a very narrow conception of the vocational education, and we therefore undervalue it. With advances in technologies like AI, augmented reality, and so on, we clearly foresee an increasing number of hybrid jobs where a human's vocational skills will complement the capabilities of high-tech equipment. The higher education system is therefore necessary to prepare students for such jobs. Vocational education will thus become an integral part of the larger vision of the educational system. Taking the strategy further towards integrating professional education with general education, the policy aims to make a holistic approach to the preparation of professionals. The goal of professional education should be to develop individuals with the capacity to combine a strong foundation of theoretical knowledge and specific competencies, ability to connect theory to practice, and understanding of how professional education impacts the society and in turn impacted by the society. Generic competencies such as decision-making, critical thinking, problem solving, and so such things, which is the context of the professional practice by being there. With the special reference to the education, I may point out that the professions have the elements that are universal and elements that are specific to the context in which they are practiced. The context in which the professions are practiced are being defined constantly by the changes in our understanding of society, the environment, human rights, and ethics. At the same time, professions are becoming highly differentiated and are constantly evolving, such as in S&T gather space, where they gather space. The professional undergraduate education must rise to this challenge. Some of the additional recommendations of the professional education in the present policy include providing strategic thrust in new and emerging disciplines in professional education. India must lead in preparing professionals in cutting-edge areas that are fast becoming prominent, such as artificial intelligence, 3D machining, big data analytics, and machine learning, among others, in technical education and genomic studies, biotechnology, nanotechnology, and neurosciences in the field of sciences, for example. These topics and many others like them must be woven into the undergraduate education at the earliest. Regarding the industry interactions, the policy encourages industry academic collaboration, such as establishing industry centers of excellence and incubation cells in institutions, appointing faculties with research and industry experience, offering positions to selected industry experts on boards of studies as an adjunct faculty, and creating internship opportunities for learners and using state-of-art resources available with industry and with educational institutions by sharing such expensive items for educational purposes. In a nutshell, the overall higher educational sector will aim to be an integrated higher education system, including professional and vocational education. Thus, this approach will be applicable to all higher educational institutions across current streams, which will eventually merge into one coherent ecosystem of higher education. The policy has also paid special attention to the promotion of Indian languages, arts, and culture. Needless to emphasize, India is a treasure trove of culture developed over thousands of years and manifested in the form of arts and crafts, works of literature, customs, traditions, linguistic expressions, heritage sites, and so on. The promotion of Indian arts and culture is important both at the national and individual level. Language, of course, is inextricably linked to art and culture and is the key to the preservation and promotion of culture. Unfortunately, the Indian languages have not received their due attention and care, with the country losing nearly 220 languages in the last 50 years. Further, even those languages of India not officially in the endangered list, such as 22 languages of the 8th schedule, are facing difficulties. The policy therefore recommends teaching and learning of Indian languages by integrating them within school and higher education. It also proposes several measures to strengthen education and research related to Indian languages, including regional languages, modern languages, and classical languages. Another recommendation is to develop high-quality programs and degrees in translation and interpretation, arts and museum administration, archaeology, graphic design, web design, so on and so forth. The policy also recommends mainstreaming Sanskrit with strong offerings in school as well as higher education. Sanskrit can be connected innovatively to other contemporary and relevant subjects such as mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, linguistics, dramatics, yoga, etc. Departments of Sanskrit that conduct teaching and outstanding interdisciplinary research on Sanskrit and Sanskrit knowledge system need to be established. A major transformatory step towards providing flexibility and support for lifelong learning. The policy has brought in the notion of the academic bank of credit, which was mentioned by the Honorable Minister when he spoke about it. The ABC promises to be a game changer, allowing youth to choose the appropriate time in their career to take courses as needed and providing them with the flexibility of accumulating credits over a period of time towards appropriate degrees. When combined with the multiple entry and multiple exit option also provided by the NEP, the ABC enables anytime learning, anywhere learning, and any level learning, as envisaged in the NP. It will facilitate the integration of campuses and distributed learning systems by creating student mobility within their inter and intra-university systems, and the process does not rule out sharing of credits between public and private institutions. ABC would be a digital, virtual, online entity to be established and managed by the government. The association of the credit system with the National Skills Qualification Framework and its interlinking with NEGF, there is a qualification framework for the higher education, will allow ABC to also integrate vocational education and skills training seamlessly, enabling students to remain relevant to the needs of the hour and, most importantly, to the needs of jobs. In the context of the need for graduates to be adaptable to lifelong learners, here is what Alvin Toffler, I don't have to say this, many of you know this, the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I unquote. The NEP 2020 recognizes the strengths and usefulness of the ODL, the Open Distance Learning Systems, and encourages and supports it. The ODL has a critical role to play in improving access and ensuring equity through mixing a good quality, affordable academic programs available to students at all ages and from diverse categories and geographies. However, it's generally accepted that the ODL programs available around the country are of variable quality, and consequently, the rate of attrition of students is high. NEP 2020 takes cognizance of this and states that the institutions will have the option to run open distance learning and online program provided they are specifically accredited to do so. This requirement of a separate additional accreditation of ADL for ADL is necessary to ensure that the quality of content, delivery mechanisms, and learner support are all monitored through the accreditation framework. The nature of ODL is such that the quality of education can lapse quite easily due to all the additional aspects involved in the students being able to access and assimilate material relative to face-to-face classroom education. The NEP 2020 goes on to say that ODL programs will aim to be equivalent to the highest quality in-class programs available. Norms, standards, and guidelines for systemic development, regulation, and accreditation of ODL will be prepared, and a framework for quality ODL will be recommended by all HCIs to be developed. This can be done through the setting up of a professional standard setting body, PSSB, for ODL, and making such a body a part of the General Education Council under the Higher Education Commission of India. One aspect of ODL that will require specific discussion and the action is that of the jurisdiction of universities offering ODL. This is not there as a part of policy at this particular stage, but I'm just saying this because of the importance that it can have in ultimately making ODL much more effective than what it is today. While the present model restricts state universities to within the state boundaries, given that the NEP empowers these universities to offer online courses, it is advisable that online courses do not have to have any restrictions related to jurisdiction. Relaxing jurisdiction issues for ODL and online courses can also bring in much needed competition among the universities. However, this question needs further discussion and building of consensus among the stakeholders before a final decision is taken. The issues in many cases go beyond good educational practices and need to be seen in the broader perspective. The effect of NEP is to create an integrated yet flexible higher education system that includes, besides mainstream education, professional, vocational, and other forms of education in a coherent manner. By the same token, we can envisage that in the long run, ODL can be considered as a subset of the overall education system, both in school and higher education. Such a step would involve adopting the concepts of ODL to derive better optimality for realizing an efficient educational strategy that would be dictated additionally by geographies, developmental concerns, as well as economic, social, and cultural factors. ODL can also play a major role in making lifelong learning opportunities available to all. EdTech applications and research must play a crucial role not only in achieving the higher gross enrollment ratio, which we had said can go up to 50% in the policy, by improving access to higher quality education, but in improving the resilience of the entire educational system from disruption, such as the one which we faced recently. This is something that the ODL community is very familiar with. In this regard, the National Education Policy for Technology Forum, a NETF, a new autonomous entity recommended in this policy, will provide a platform for crucial dialogue between educators and education for technology entrepreneurs. This will facilitate well-considered strategies for the introduction of the various technologies in education. One of the key recommendations that the policy committee made, taking into account the fact whereas certainly there will be an increased use of technology, the adoption of the technology and its efficacy, and also taking into account the cultural, social, and other factors of the country. How do we come to judgments? This is a question that NETF seeks to adjust. As a highly deliberative body, NETF will help representing ODL in the context of the related technologies. Without such a platform, educators often can end up repurposing technology developed for other applications, such as business, which is obviously not ideal. Further, I am convinced that the educational technology is a fertile domain for entrepreneurs, and the NETF will help these entrepreneurs better understand the kind of challenges educationists are facing so that they can develop effective technological solutions. NETF will have 4 important functions in this context. First, it will provide independent evidence-based advice to central and state government agencies on which technology interventions will effectively address specific challenges. Second, it will help institutions build intellectual capacities for educational technology. This is important because unless faculty have familiarity and regular engagement with educational technology, they are very reluctant to adopt technology for improving educational teaching and learning process. Third, NETF will envision strategic thrust areas in educational technology. I want to emphasize that NETF will be a highly deliberative body, and it is not an institution of the type of a laboratory or that will distinguish between genuine disruption and the mere hype, because we will certainly see a lot of the latter. Fourth, as I mentioned, NETF will work closely with NRF to direct research funding towards promising avenues of the educational technology. In this connection, SRM would consider hosting a Center for Excellence in Educational Technology also, and work closely with the proposed NETF. In the process, SRM could provide innovative and pioneering input towards these activities. I understand that the work on setting up of NETF at the national level is already underway. The implementation plan for higher education is currently under preparation. It will require multiple initiatives and actions to be undertaken by several bodies in a synchronized and systematic manner, including Ministry of Education, CAB, Union and State Government, other educational related ministries at the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, the regulatory bodies in higher education and HEIS. So it remains to be seen how this will be done. Some important initiatives that have already been launched by the UGC is operationalizing the Academic Bank of Credits, ABC. Even at the expense of repetition, I may mention ABC will also support lifelong learning, since students will be able to accumulate credits towards their degrees over a period of time. UGC has also notified that the UDL and other online program regulations 2020, which eases the eligibility criteria for HEIS to be able to offer programs in the online and ODL modes. SRM University must seek to leverage these opportunities. As a key step towards its realization, the policy recommends strengthening and empowering the Central Advisory Board of Education, CAB, which will have a much greater mandate beyond being a forum for widespread consultation and examination of issues relating to educational and cultural development. The remodeled and rejuvenated CAB will also be responsible for developing, articulating, evaluating, and revisiting the vision of education in the country on a continuous basis in close collaboration with the Ministry of Education, as well as related apex bodies of the state. It will also create and continuously review the institutional frameworks that shall help realize this vision. A few commitments were made in the budget speech of the Union Finance Minister. These include putting in place the legislative framework for setting up of the Higher Education Commission of India, which is expected very soon. Allocation of 50,000 crores over the next 5 years for the establishment of the National Research Foundation to strengthen the overall research ecosystem in the country with focus on identified national priority areas. Putting in place a regulatory mechanism to permit dual degrees, joint degrees, training arrangements to promote enhanced academic collaboration with foreign higher educational institutions. A draft of this regulation is in the public domain, I am told. Setting up of a national digital education architecture to support teaching and learning activities, as well as educational planning, governance, and administrative activities of the center and the state and union territories. Much more needs to be done, of course, also by the state governments. I would encourage SRM University to leverage the NEP maximally by beginning work on preparing its own internal development plans that include a blueprint for new courses, new departments, introduction of vocational education in partnership with local industry and businesses, plans for research, and for increasing the enrollment of students also from the socially and economically disadvantaged group. The Honorable Minister elaborated quite a lot on this particular issue. Pedagogy and assessment reforms, capacity building of existing faculty, and so on. In the goal of attaining excellence and becoming a world-class institution, we are limited only by our imagination and our ambition. SRM can also consider pursuing the goal of becoming an international destination for quality education. NEP supports internationalization very strongly and has made several extremely well thought out recommendations towards increasing the inward mobility of students. The count of foreign students studying in India is still below 50,000 at the most recent All India survey on higher education as a 2019-2020. In conclusion, I would like to re-emphasize that a good educational system is central to realizing the ambitious socio-economic development goals of India. Education is an extraordinarily complex field by its very nature and goals. India's vibrant diversity and plurality exacerbates this complexity. This policy, crafted the intention of creating a 21st century knowledge society, duly recognizes the multiple dimensions of education as well as its holistic nature. The Honorable Prime Minister, besides recognizing the need for a new policy for this country at this juncture, played a key role in giving its final shape and setting the pace for its implementation. He provided tremendous support all through the process, reviewing, commenting, guiding, and suggesting many interesting inputs towards refining this policy. He also inspired and participated in several discussions at the national level, along with leading academics, educationists, political leadership, and other key stakeholders of this policy. He has also committed his government to pursuing this policy in letter and spirit. He continues to keep track of the progress being made by the center and state governments, agencies in implementing this policy. I'm sure that with such inspirational support from the Honorable Prime Minister, the dynamic leadership being provided by the Honorable Education Minister, this policy will have all the necessary attention of the decision makers in Delhi, and that can also facilitate the efforts of the government of Andhra Pradesh towards moving ahead and implementing this policy. I once again say how much I appreciate the remarks by the Honorable Minister of Andhra Pradesh about the resolve of this state to carry forward the implementation of the various policy frameworks of the national education policy and truly create an Andhra Pradesh of the future, a state which the whole India can be proud of as something which is model in terms of a vibrant knowledge society. I would like to once again express my grateful thanks to all of you, Professor Narayan Rao, Professor V.R. Rao, and also for the presence of the Honorable Minister and the very distinguished educationists and erudite personalities who made it a point to attend this session. I would like to thank all of them, and I wish the very best on this very auspicious and august day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So, with your permission, we wish to take up some question and answer. Dr. Sirisha and Professor Ranjit, please take up the question.
Thank you, Professor Vinod. Good afternoon, sir. This is Dr. Sirisha from Mechanical Department. That was an extraordinary lecture I have ever heard, sir. So there are quite a few participants would like to interact with you, sir. With your permission, I request first media people, if you would like to interact with the distinguished speaker, please. Anyone would like to interact with, sir?
Samuel, are you in line? Connected?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Samuel, please go ahead. Sir, he is Samuel Jonathan, the special correspondent of the Hindu at Guntur. Yeah, Samuel. Samuel.
Okay. Next. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. He's having some problem in connecting.
Please take up the other question.
Yes, Professor Kiran Patel would like to interact with you, sir. Professor Kiran Patel, are you ready?
Is she unmuted? Murali? Unmute her.
Yeah, Professor Kiran, you can talk, Professor Kiran.
Yeah, good afternoon. So my question is basically very important as a member of higher education in the education. So in a teaching learning process, also research is very important. So as per NEP, this process, a teacher must be required to conduct research in order to keep the expert up to date. So some teachers are also teaching, some teachers are doing research. So my question is, in NEP 2020, any higher education institute must have a combination of both this teaching plus doing some research. So that will give you more knowledge to the students and other things. So this is my question to Honorable Kasturirangan, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a very important, but we have considered this as one of the key elements in ensuring that we have a quality teaching from the teachers at whatever level, including the school education. If you really look at our recommendation with respect to the school education, because I still consider the school education, the role that the teachers have to play in the school to bring up the children. Initially, the development of the brain and to be synchronizing with the development of the brain. Later on, picking up the reading and many other, I mentioned about it in terms of the various steps in which the brain grows, and we have to synchronize our own teaching process and learning process with respect to that. The demands of the teacher, understanding the youngster, understanding the psychology, understanding the neural science, these are very demanding, they're going to be. Therefore, there is a need for the teacher to upgrade the knowledge with which they can interact with the students. And one of the things we have recommended is, and this is very important, ultimately all the teachers' preparation will go to higher education institution, number one. The higher education institution have two tremendous advantages. One is it prepares a teacher with a holistic knowledge. It cannot be just a silo-based specific area. Certainly he or she may teach that area, but he has a broader knowledge. This is very important to be confident to deal with the modern youngsters. The second is you need to also upgrade the teacher with respect to the stature of the knowledge that they have to acquire for the regular teaching. The TEIs and these kind of institutions certainly has not been effective. Ultimately, I don't have to say this. So obviously we have completely restructured the way in which the teachers are trained, the teachers are prepared, teachers are upgraded periodically, and also teachers are given the new knowledge with respect to the new methods and so on. That is one aspect of it. In order to do that, we also recognize that a certain level of communication skill, teamwork, consultation skills, understanding ideas are important. Research is an important component of that. So we need to make sure that there is some segment of a research proportion identified for the teacher to get a feel of a research mode of thinking. That is also implied. And lastly, and most importantly to us, is the fact that the teachers have to be given the right autonomy, even pedagogy and things of that kind, many of them should develop, because there is a style in which a teacher teaches with a student. You cannot have a pedagogy which is universal and everybody want to repeat the same thing with respect to every teacher. So we have given an autonomy for the teachers. This autonomy spreads with respect to pedagogy and the method of teaching and the type of content, and then the ability to be critical and candid, understanding. They have to have that research mind, or what you may call as a research mind. It is more important than doing a research itself. And then, of course, the teacher themselves get prepared by institutions like the higher educational institution, where the Department of Education will prepare the student teachers and give them the BE and MED. They will be from those higher educational institutions, not from any lower. So they have the same stature and knowledge level as the one where you get a bachelor's degree in other areas. It can be that it can be equivalent to higher educational institutions, a mechanical engineering degree or a scientific degree or some other kind of legal degree and so on. Teachers will not be lagging behind in terms of their knowledge and stature with respect to these people. So they really become effective because of that background in teaching the youngsters.
Okay, Sirisha.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Professor Purushottam Naik. Sir, can you please interact with the speaker, Professor Purushottam Naik?
Good afternoon, sir. Actually, I have attended many seminars like this, and I have heard you earlier also. I would not comment that whether it's good or bad. It's everybody says a very nice policy and all. Only concern I am having since we are having school education, college education, and university level educations, and there is a need to link all these three educational levels. And NEP 2020, whether it has kept any provision, whether we should go for implementing these policies at all these levels simultaneously, or it should be by stages. First, we will start with the school, then shifted over to college, and then to university. If it is so, like how do you achieve all these things? To make it more, successful. Whether just like the earlier we had some system like UGC had some model syllabus where there were some linkage between university level education with the college level education. So are you thinking of having some sort of model syllabi for each and every subject at various levels of education, so that it can be borrowed by various institutions to adapt it, and then they can make some changes and here and there just to suit to their needs, local needs? But so far we have not had anything from the document or from you, sir. What provision you have? Do you have something to say on this?
I think the first and foremost is, as soon as we set the policy, there is a step in which you used to adopt the policy. You have a national policy. The national policy is given, and there is a set of experts which form what you call the national curricular framework for higher education and school education. The national curricular framework is an all-encompassing curricular framework from which you draw, each of the state will draw depending upon the national the related aspects as well as the local related aspects, and they form their own syllabus coming out of the national curricular framework, adopted at the state level as a national state curricular framework and the state curriculum. And then you have the pedagogy and the rest of the procedure to deliver the knowledge to the stakeholder, to the beneficiary. So this system is still being followed. There is no question. That's why when I said about the preparatory work related to that, I'm not a part of the way it is going now, so I can't critically comment on those. But I do know that there is a national curricular framework work which is currently in progress. The whole idea is to provide an overarching framework which is consistent with the policy framework that we have submitted. And once that national curricular framework provides you, and this is for specific areas, it is not an overarching kind of in the specific areas, then that is given to the state. The state will adopt those curricular framework with respect to then things which are of global importance on which the knowledge is same across, and those that are specific to the local conditions or a state level kind of things, which they will add to this, and thus create a state level curriculum. And that curriculum is the one that is adopted. Of course, that can also have a small variation even in the local kind of a thing, but these are internally done by the states. So the state ultimately makes the curriculum for itself, but sufficiently recognizing the inputs that come from the national curricular framework. And once you have the curriculum there, then individual institution, in fact, the present the policy allows individual institution to develop their own pedagogies. And they can also borrow the pedagogies which are available in quite a bit, and they can modify it and they can try to tune it to make it more effective in terms of a delivery system for the youngsters, including the fact that one can have interactive modes and many other kinds of modes in which the pedagogy could be developed. But this is something that the institutions themselves can decide. And particularly this we have made it as a very clear-cut thing. Where is the autonomy and what kind of autonomy, and what is the level to which the definition happens at the central level, what is the level at which the state will modify it, and from then onwards. And but there is all through, there is a recognition of the ground realities of the state, center, and the local conditions as central to defining what you want to teach to the youngsters.
Thank you, sir. There are so many other interesting and value of questions, but because of time constraints, I would like to stop this session here. Over to Professor Vinod.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A very wonderful lecture, sir. So now I invite our respected Vice Chancellor, Professor V.S. Rao, to present a virtual memento to the distinguished speaker.
Sir, yes, sir.
Please unmute, sir. Sir, please unmute, sir. Sir, please unmute.
Somebody is muting me. To this great scientist of India, to this great architect of space technology, to this great visionary of the new education policy for the next century, I bow my head at your feet on this auspicious occasion because you are my guru. As a chancellor at NIIT University, sir, we have already constituted a committee for the implementation of new education policy. A group of young faculty members are working, and I take your advice to have a center of educational innovation and technology, center of excellence in innovation, education and innovation of technology. Today, we are announcing this, and we will have this center, sir. With these words, I am really honored and privileged to hand over this memento to you, and later on, I will come personally to hand it over to you, sir. My pranams to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So now I invite Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor D. Narayan Rao, to present a virtual memento to the Honorable Minister for Education.
Sir, it's my privilege, pleasure, and honor to present the memento to the Honorable Minister for Education. Sir, as I have been telling you a few times, the state of Andhra Pradesh is quite fortunate to have you as the Honorable Minister for Education. In the history of Andhra Pradesh, never we had such educationist as Minister for Education. Thus, the 5 crore people and several institutions, universities, colleges, and about 45,000 schools of this country look forward to you. And I'm sure you have the vision, the energy, capabilities, and potential supported by your Honorable Chief Minister to make Andhra Pradesh as a knowledge hub in the country in the years to come. Sir, you have several years to serve the state and the country.
Thank you,
I'm
Narendra.
sure.
Thank you so much. It's your wishes should come true, and then I thank my Honorable Chief Minister for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Sir, now we'll virtually present this. This evening, we'll be presenting the memento and the book to you in person according to your convenience.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. So now I invite the registrar of SRM University, Andhra Pradesh, to present a virtual memento to Dr. Vijayalakshmi Saxena.
Saxena, General President.
General President, Indian Science Congress Association.
She may not be there. Or... not video. Oh, sir, Vijayalakshmi Saxena, आप connected हैं?
Yes, yes, I am here.
Okay, okay. हाँ. आ गई. Yes.
Thank you, madam. It's my privilege to present you this memento, and thanks for joining the session and delivering the special lecture on this occasion. And we will arrange the same one physical copy also to you. Thank you once again for joining the session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So now I invite my colleague, Dr. S. Manathan, to deliver the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Professor Vinod. Good afternoon to everyone. It is an excellent and memorable day for all of us. And indeed, we have witnessed yet another astonishing talk from the NEP Chairman, Dr. Kasturirangan. Sir, we firmly believe that NEP is one of the revolutionary policies in independent India, and it is all ready to change the existing academic system of our country. The policy will undoubtedly generate opportunities for the young minds to have multidisciplinary education, which is of utmost importance in the modern world. I'm sure all the participants present here are immensely beneficial.
And video of this, sir.
And apparently, everyone gets a clear picture of the national education policy. Sir, on behalf of SRM University-AP, I extend warm special thanks to our Honorable Education Minister, Andhra Pradesh,
Dr. Manathan, please, your voice is not audible.
Hello?
Yeah, please. Please, Dr. Manathan. So please deliver the concluding remarks.
From the beginning, huh? Okay. Thank you, Professor Vinod. Good afternoon to everyone. It is an excellent and memorable day for all of us. And indeed, we have witnessed yet another astonishing talk from the NEP's chairman, Dr. Kasturirangan. Sir, we firmly believe that NEP is one of the revolutionary policies in independent India, and it is all ready to change the existing academic system of our country. The policy will undoubtedly generate opportunities for the young minds to have multidisciplinary education, which is of utmost importance in the modern world. I am sure all the participants present here are immensely benefited from your talk, and apparently everyone gets a clear picture of the national education policy. Sir, on behalf of SRM University-AP, I express warm and sincere thanks for your gracious presence and for sharing your vision on national education policy with this august audience. Special thanks to our Honorable Education Minister, Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Adimulapu Suresh. Sir, your valuable inputs on equity on educations are well taken. As always, SRM University-AP will support and implement the innovative ideas brought by the Ministry of Education, Andhra Pradesh. And we are confident that education in Andhra Pradesh will reach a new high under your guidance. We are very thankful to all our special guests, General President, Indian Science Congress, directors of ISR and IIT, chairmans and vice chancellors of Indian and foreign universities for their gracious presence in the memorable occasion. I extend my sincere thanks to our beloved President, Dr. P. Satyanarayanan, SRM University-AP, and our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor V.S. Rao, for their encouragement and unstinted support. I wish to express my sincere gratitude to our Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor D. Narayan Rao, for his inspirational thoughts and guidance throughout this SRM University distinguished lecture. I thank our Registrar Sir, all the directors and the deans of SRM University-AP for their constant support. I express my warm appreciation to our organizing committee members, technical staff, and other supporting staffs who have worked hard behind the scene to make this lecture successful. We are very thankful to the print and electronic media for their association and excellent coverage for this program. Last but not least, I sincerely thank all the participants from various institutions, including IITs, ISR, NITs, NIPERS, National Laboratories of DST and CSIR, universities and colleges from different locations. Finally, I request you all to be safe in this pandemic situation. Please wear masks, wash your hands, and maintain social distance whenever necessary. See you all in the next distinguished lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Manada.
Thank you, Professor Narayan Rao Garu. Namaste.
Professor Sudarshan Sharma Garu, thank you very much for kindly joining. I thought of requesting you to speak, but time was not there.
Yeah, I understand.
Because he touched upon Sanskrit, connecting mathematics.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We'll organize in your university, Vedic University. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. You are welcome, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for kindly joining.
So thank you very much, sir.
Namaskar, sir.
We are ending the session now. Thank you.